Don Mazzella here again for Small Business Digest. And the other day, I received in my email box something I couldn't ignore. Somebody was willing to send me a free sample of her um, product, and what it was for Valentine's Day, and I thought more importantly, she was willing to send that alone and not have me demanding that I buy something along with it, but she did offer, did have a form in front with it. So I was so intrigued. I asked Sarah Dwyer to join us today to talk about uh, her efforts. Sarah, welcome to the program.
Hi, nice to see you. Meet you all.
Sarah, as we ask all our guests, first tell us a little bit about yourself, then about your company, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but
I'll do it
uh,
for you.
yes, and finally a website. Well, because I'm sure at the end of this program, some of us will want to go right on it. Sarah,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk sweets and chocolates this week before Valentine's Day. I know a lot of people wait too long for Valentine's Day. So um, I have been in love with chocolate since I can remember. I would get in trouble for taking my grandmother's chocolates, the big box of Whitman samplers, and squishing each one to try to find the chocolate covered caramel, because those were
Mm,
always my favorites.
mm,
Um, all my babysitting money I spent on chocolate. I loved baking. I made super easy brownies and chocolate chip cookies and loved trying out new recipes, like a super complicated, you make five things and then there's assembly instructions at the end. Um, I loved doing those. I was always inspired by Julia Child. It just felt like she really connected with people over food. And one of my favorite quotes is, birthday party without cake is just a meeting. And I feel the same way about chocolate, because it's just something little you can give someone and it makes them smile. And I just think there's not very many things that you can give to someone that makes them that happy. I mean,
mm.
you can give someone a flower, and I think that's beautiful too. There's a lot of little things that you can give people, but chocolate is my favorite way to make people smile.
But how did you come to the
The
business?
chouquette.
Yes.
Yes. So I started out loving chocolate. I spent about 20 years in retail and banking. I was a corporate trainer for many years for a big Swiss bank. And then um, during 2009, a little, the business world went a little weird. And I decided to take a year off. I'd never done it when I was in college. And so I moved to Paris for a year and I went to pastry school and I loved it. And one of the things I loved was going to chocolate shops and trying all the different flavors that they had. And I remembered that feeling of finding the chocolate covered caramel in that random box of chocolates and how happy that made me. And so after that year, I had all the plans of going back and going into sales again or training. And I just decided little by little that I would try to make chocolates the way I remember them tasting when I was little, and also inspired by all the things that I learned when I was in pastry school. So that combination together, the memory and also the travel and that kind of inspiration, made me create Chouquette. And, and uh, um, is
You
a word
froze.
that means little cabbage,
Well, Sarah, we're going to have to stop.
but it's also
Sarah,
a term.
you're freezing.
Sorry.
You're freezing. The picture is freezing, so we're going to have to go back a little bit and have my
Okay.
editor. Um,
Okay.
it's not you. Um, so when you start, you came back from Paris.
Okay.
Please, you were explaining what happened. You came back from Paris.
Yeah. So when I came back from Paris, I remembered all the things that I loved about chocolate covered caramels. that feeling of being at my grandmother's house and searching for the chocolate covered caramels. And then I was also inspired by my travel and my time in Paris, tasting all those great things, whether savory or sweet. And I decided I would give chocolate making a try. And little by little, I grew a following and decided to never go back to banking again.
How did you build your following?
I started out doing a lot of farm markets, and I did have a lot of contacts, having been in the small business world, with working with banks and working with individuals. So it's surprising how many people really do want to support you when you go out on your own, which I think all the small business owners can think back to when they very first started, and that person who they never expected placed an order or used their service. And then little by little, word grows. That person tells somebody, and then we started doing farm markets, and then we started selling to retail stores. And now we have about 1,500 stores that order from us on a regular basis.
Mhm.
And we have a commercial kitchen in Maryland where we make the chocolates, and we do events, and people come and pick up their chocolates. And then the other part of my business that has really grown is custom chocolates. And I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do that offer to small businesses, especially retailers, independent retailers, because we do not sell on Amazon. And there's nothing wrong with Amazon. But for me, being an independent business and selling to independent retailers, I wanted to make something that was not available everywhere, to keep it not super expensive, but special. And so we have a lot of small businesses that order our chocolates for their clients and their employees. And that's just a great part of my business, in telling that business's story on their chocolates. So we don't usually just do a logo. We take the idea and the images from that specific business, and we put those on a chocolate and tell their story. And I have businesses who, did it for a year, and then they sent their clients for the holidays a different gift, not necessarily chocolate, something totally different, like wine or all sorts of things. And the clients wanted their chocolates back. They're like, this thing is great, but where are my chocolates? And that's such an amazing thing when, as a business, you send out a client gift or an employee gift, and you get that phone call saying, I love these, please send me these again. Because I think a lot of times businesses, we send offers out there, and we put our swag out there, and you never hear anything. And that's why I was so excited to hear from you that people did want to hear about this. And so what we do is we offer clients the opportunity, to small business clients and independent retailers, the ability to order chocolates from us for free. And if they like them, then they try them again, and they think about them for their business, or they think about them for their personal life, for birthdays. I know lots of people keep my chocolates in a drawer. When they have a chocolate emergency themselves, they can use it. Or if someone in their office is having a chocolate emergency, they use them. So in addition to the custom corporate ones, we just really love telling the story and making sure that that feeling that I had when I was little, trying my grandmother's chocolates and squishing them to find the one I liked, that I get people that same feeling and that same smile on their face.
Let's stop here. Your website, and spell it out, because I know I couldn't spell it.
Yes. So my website is chouquette.us. And chouquette, again, is a term of endearment. It means little cabbage. But it's also one of those sweet treats that's like a French donut hole. And so it's spelled out CHOUQUETTE.US. So CHOUQUETTE.US. And I'll make a little Small Business Digest link on the very front page, so that you all can go and get your own free box of 5 chocolates. And you'll see how much you love them. Because I think sometimes when you look at the website, you'll be like, oh, those chocolates are so pretty. But sometimes I distrust pretty food.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that wedding cake Sometimes it's great, but sometimes it's not. And the prettiest cupcake isn't always the best. And I think that, you know, we have a probably a valid concern when it comes to food that's too pretty. So I want people to try them and realize they're as good on the inside as they are on the outside.
Mm. Will you show the sample of what you do?
Yes, yes. So these are our Valentine ones. Um, and so they're a circle on the outside, and then they have different color hearts on them that have cute little sayings, a little play on the conversation hearts we all had as kids that some people don't love the taste of. So this is a way you get chocolate and caramel, and you get the good, delicious taste that you love, but you still get that cute sentiment that you had when you were little, passing around those little Valentines to everyone in your second grade class.
Oh, Sarah, tell us, um, how effective is something like this? I mean, do you get a 10% return, 15% return? Can you share any of that data with us?
Yes. So I did send this to my kind of not my last chance email list, because that's not really what it was, but it was the people who, had not ordered ever, or hadn't ordered in over 3 years. So they weren't customers, but I had their contact information. So I figured, let's do one last chance. And it's probably something I'll do every 6 months, because I know email is not always the most, it doesn't always get there. It goes to spam, it goes other places. That person changed jobs. So it is something that we're going to post on LinkedIn for small business owners as well. Um, so this was my least likely group of clients to buy. Um, and we've had about a 10% order rate, but it really just happened last week. So we've sent the chocolates out and continue to send the chocolates out. Um, and I've gotten 2 orders from clients who were like, I don't need to taste your chocolates. I ordered them and I forgot about them. So I've already ordered again. So for me, there was no downside to trying this with clients who, kind of my email list that hadn't done anything in a while. And so I segregated this group out and kind of will drip on them, every so often, and see how things go. But there was no downside really, except for a couple boxes of free chocolate, which, don't worry, I'll send you yours. And everyone else who's out there listening, I would love to send you chocolates so that you can taste the happiness that I feel when I make chocolates.
Okay, could we talk about price?
Yes.
What's a box that you send? Let's say I wanted to send out to 50 of my best clients.
Mhm.
What would I be looking at, and what kind of a product would you suggest?
So our best seller is the box that I showed you. It's a box of
Okay.
5, and it retails for $16. But for when we work with a business client, they're often a very repeat and reliable customers. So I always offer them 20% off. We do the same thing for nonprofits, because nonprofits are often looking for ways to thank their donors and volunteers. So in addition, for small businesses and large businesses, that's our normal box. So there is also a setup fee. So instead of having a minimum of 100 boxes, you can order exactly the amount of chocolates that you want. And then we have you do a setup fee of $125 for your logo. So you could take the Small Business Digest logo, and I could put that on a chocolate for you. The setup fee would be $125. And then the chocolates would be $16 each minus 20%, which makes them $12.40 or 60 cents. I'm a good chocolatier. I'm not great at doing math in my head.
That that's really not bad.
No.
For something like that. Frankly, I had someone else on the program recently. She was representing the company that manufactures the machine that you can print on cookies and other things.
Yes.
And when she told me the prices, I was surprised. But then when I told my wife, she said, "Oh no, I don't eat chocolate. I'm a diabetic, unfortunately. But she said, "Oh no, that's about what people are paying." Um,
Yeah.
it surprised me.
Yes. Well, you know, when something is handmade, it's always going to be less expensive. And what might surprise you is if you go to a regular grocery store and you look at the prices of what regular cookies cost compared to the last time you bought them, or regular chocolates cost, even grocery store chocolates. Like I remember being able to buy a candy bar for a quarter.
Yeah.
I'm 51. So, you know, though you're like, oh, you look at that and it's $16, but um, the one thing I think that people who, you know, do the decorated cookies and do the special chocolates and all the things that people love on a sweet realm, even on the savory realm, it's handmade and we're using all the best ingredients we can find. So for me, I'm using fair trade chocolate. I'm using Rainforest Alliance. So they're protecting where chocolate and coffee are grown, because if we don't take care of those areas, in 50 years, we will not have coffee and chocolate.
Mm.
So, we're working on being sustainable and being smart about those resources. That's one thing that, you know, a lot of us really care about. And something that's handmade is always going to be more expensive. But we make the caramel in small batches. We test everything. We work with local designers to come up with different ideas. And we also use all natural colorants for our designs. So the designs that you see here, there's no red number 5 or anything like that.
Mm.
It's all natural colorants, which are a little bit more expensive. But I think it's important to, you know, in addition to being sustainable, be smart on what people are putting in their bodies. And I think food coloring is one thing people aren't expecting always when they're looking at things. And, you know, we put all the calorie counts and all that information on there. So, you know, people, no matter what their dietary issues are, if they want a little sweet treat, my niece is diabetic, you know, and she likes to have these chocolates, and so, you know, count she works it into her everyday schedule. Not every day, but she works it into when she needs to. And I think that's the nice thing, is that knowing what you're putting in your body is important. And granted, this is chocolate and this is sugar. It's not kale, but you know, you have to balance things out.
Mm.
Again, another Julia Child quote: "Everything in moderation, including moderation."
That's one of my favorite lines. As a diabetic, you have to understand it's a long term, it's a distance
Yes.
race, not a dash. But let's
No.
go. When did you found your uh, go from a farm and a fair uh, uh, business to a factory and everything?
Well, you know, just little by little, 10 years of being in business, you know, you just grow. And I think, you know, the first year you have to get 100% of your clients. And then hopefully the next year you only have to get 90% new clients, but you keep, you know, the ones that you had. And I think little by little, you get to the point where you start to get more phone calls coming in than you're making going out. And then, you know, I think it kind of goes in like little spurts. It's like, okay, well, at this point you have 100 stores, so you work, you know, you work there and you work on getting the clients, and then you work on getting your production up to speed, and then you have 200 clients, and then you work here and you work here, and then eventually you get to about 1,500 clients, which is where we are now. So we really grew very organically. No huge um, things happened. I didn't get famous overnight. Although maybe through this I will. I don't know. We'll go viral, right?
Well, let me
But I think that, God,
before we go further, your website again for our audience.
is chouquette.us, spelled with a CHOUQUETTE.US, like United States.
Okay. Well, now, when you say we, is it your own company? Do you have partners, or have you done it all on your own?
It's all been me. And I'm not sure I would recommend that. I think it's really hard to do everything all on your own. But I think I'd worked in corporate America where you had to run something by marketing and then you had to run it by legal. And then by the time it came out of all those meetings, it wasn't what you had in mind in the first place. And I think that's what a lot of small business owners really want. They're like, I want to do it this way. And when it doesn't work, you kind of go back to the drawing board. But I think there's certain people who have that drive to, I want to do it my way. And I think that's one of the keys to being a solo business owner. I really wish this was more of a, you know, a partnership sometimes, but I really never found anyone that I thought would could work with me without without too much stress. But I do think about that. I mean, I do get offers now and then on ideas, and nothing's turned out so far, but it is something that I think would be helpful because as you grow, you delegate things. So we have people who, I have someone who runs my packaging department. I have someone who runs kind of my kitchen and production area. And then I have people help me with social media. And I meet with everyone, on a regular, very regular basis to make sure we're doing things the right way. But as you grow, you have to work those things in. So for now, it's really just me in charge, but I literally could not do it without the people that I work with. And I will tell you, about 70% of the people that I work with at Chouquette are people who are neurodiverse. And that means anyone from ADHD to autism spectrum and anywhere in between. We partner with some local organizations that focus on mental health in our area. And it's not a charitable thing. I started out doing it as I was trying to be nice. It is the smartest business decision I ever made. If any small businesses are out there and you want to ask me how to do it, I will tell you from the very beginning, it helped me understand how people think. It made me put together better resources. So anytime someone makes a box like this, there's a picture and a written description of what every single one of our boxes has in it. And that has helped people who are neurodiverse, but it has also made onboarding new employees who are neurotypical so much faster. And all the things that I have done for that group has made my business stronger in every way.
Where are you located?
We're located in Gaithersburg, Maryland.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have.
Which is right outside
Well,
of Washington, D.C.
you, Sarah, you froze up. You froze up, Sarah.
Sorry. Should we start back somewhere? Where we last talked?
I'll make time. I'm going to start with the question. Where are you located, Sarah?
We are located in Gaithersburg, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C.
Are you from that area?
I am. I grew up in Annapolis, Maryland, which is not far from here, but a great place to visit and to live.
Okay. But now we have your website one more time.
Chouquette.us. CHOUQUETTE.US.
Well, we have just a couple of minutes left. What would you like to leave our audience with?
I think it's about telling your story however you want to tell it. So if you want to send your clients who haven't reached out in a while a free offer, do that. If you want to send your clients and prospects chocolates, do that. If you want to learn more about hiring neurodiverse, do that. Contact me. I think there's so many things that small businesses can learn from each other. And I think it's great to have forums like this where we can all share what works for us and all the different ideas that keep us going in small business.
Hmm. Well, on that note, Sarah Dwyer, we say thank you so much for a delicious time. Thank you.
Thanks. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.